What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I've last uploaded a video. I haven't uploaded one since my reaction to the NBA trading deadline, but I'm back with another video, and I want to talk some more NBA stuff because there's a bunch of stories going on right now. And the first thing I want to talk about is a team that I haven't talked about a lot this year, and that's the Atlanta Hawks, because there's some reports coming out that their locker room chemistry is absolutely fried in the dumpster. It's absolutely terrible. They fired head coach Nate McMillan in the middle of the season after a very disappointing first half of the season up until the All-Star break. Right now, they are 31-31, literally the definition of mid. They are 8th in the Eastern Conference, middle of the pack, 500 team, and that was after acquiring DeJounte Murray in the offseason to sort of set themselves as a contender in the Eastern Conference. So as most of us know, we go back to 2021, the Hawks have a Cinderella story type playoff run. They go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. They lose to the Bucks in 6, and some say if Trae Young did not get injured, that series would have gone differently. I personally don't think that's true at all. The Bucks were going to win that series no matter what because they were the better team, and that's why they won the series. But then the season after that, they were a little disappointing because people thought they were going to build off of that success and continue to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and they weren't. They got the 8th seed, and they played the Miami Heat in the first round, and Trae Young was absolutely abysmal. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was it's probably the worst playoff series he's played in his very short career. And so the Hawks lost that series in 5, I believe. It was a gentleman's sweep for Miami. And so in the offseason, they were like, okay, we need to make some moves to establish ourselves as a top-tier team. Because we have Trae Young, he's our franchise player. We have guys like Bogdan Bogdanovic, John Collins, Clint Capella, Okongwu, a great young player and defender. But there's something missing. So they traded for DeJounte Murray in the offseason. And some people were skeptical of this trade. Not because of DeJounte Murray. He's a great player. He was an all-star in San Antonio last season. And so people thought that trading for him may create some issues in the backcourt because Trae Young is a high-usage player, their top playmaker on the team. But I thought it was going to be a good trade because I thought it would help take playmaking responsibilities off of Trae Young, and he can focus on being a more aggressive attacker, shooter, all the stuff that he does really well. But it hasn't really worked out this year because Trae Young has been pretty inefficient, shooting like around 40% from the field, and the Hawks just aren't that good. There's like 20 games left in the regular season, and they're in the same position they were last year, fighting for a chance to be in the play-in tournament. And so when I look at Atlanta, I look at it like this. Are they going to have conversations about trading Trae Young in the offseason? Because that's what the rumors are right now. Because it seems like while he's a great player on the basketball court, he puts up like 27 and 10, great numbers. He knows how to get guys involved. He is obviously very capable of having great shooting nights from 3, but it's streaky. Some nights he can make threes, some nights he can't. And when you look at Trae Young, people are saying that he's the heir apparent, or he was the heir apparent. This is what people were saying coming out of college at Oklahoma, that he would be the heir apparent to Steph Curry in terms of being that next great three-point shooting, high-scoring point guard in the league. And he has certainly been a very good player, a star, but he hasn't quite lived up to that yet. And when you look at that draft night trade, when they had the chance to keep Luka Doncic, they traded Luka to the Mavs, and the Mavs traded Trae Young to the Hawks. People think that maybe that's one of the most even trades in sports history. I would say no. The Mavericks clearly got the best player out of those two, because Luka has a chance to be the best player in the NBA within the next like 5 years. We never know. Even though the Mavs are disappointing themselves, but that's a different subject for a different time. So it's a very disappointing situation in Atlanta because it seemed like they were going to. 2021 was a year of optimism because they got Nate McMillan in there. He turned them around on both sides of the ball, but it just seemed like after this year, the players weren't responding to him anymore. There was also another incident this year involving Nate McMillan and Trae Young, where Trae Young just completely did not show up to a game because of an argument that he had with McMillan in practice. So Trae Young was definitely done with Nate McMillan. The players weren't responding to him, and this is the situation in Atlanta because they've hired Quinn Snyder to finish the regular season, and I assume he'll obviously be their head coach going forward. And when you look at Quinn Snyder's resume, he was a great regular season coach in Utah, but wasn't able to get those Jazz teams over the hump to that conference finals championship contender status. So I'm very interested to see what the Hawks are going to do with Trae Young, what they're going to do with their team moving forward, and how they are going to finish out this season, because next season is a very big season for them. Trae Young is trying to put himself in that territory of elite guards in the league, and they have Quinn Snyder a head coach now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they fare next season. I don't think it's fair to say that they're in any sort of contender status this year. If they make the playoffs, I think they'll be a first-round exit, because they'll probably have to play Boston or Milwaukee in the first round, and I think both of those teams would beat them. So, yeah, another disappointing season for the Hawks, not what the fans wanted over there. But moving on to a different story, I want to talk about KD really quickly, because he made his debut with the Suns last night, scored 23 points in 27 minutes coming off his injury. He's been out for almost like 2 months now. It's crazy. He made his debut with the Suns last night. Like I said, scored 23 points. I think it's going to be a seamless fit, really, for KD. Him and Booker seem to have great chemistry on the court already, and Chris Paul he's going to be the deciding factor, I think, because if he is able to stay healthy and come through for them in the playoffs, then Phoenix should go to the finals. And it's crazy to say that Phoenix should be the favorites to go to the finals out west, because the soon-to-be, in my estimation, 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic plays for the Denver Nuggets, who are the number 1 seed right now, and nobody seems to think that the Nuggets have a fighting chance, but they don't have a realistic chance to get to the finals, nonetheless win a championship. So it's an interesting dynamic out west, because KD is clearly the second best player in the conference behind a healthy Steph Curry, in my opinion. But it's go time for Phoenix, because they made this move. They traded away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how KD continues to gel with this team as the regular season goes on. And speaking of Nikola Jokic, I want to talk about him really quickly too, because like I said, I think he's going to win his 3rd straight MVP. I think he'll be deserving of it, averaging a triple-double as a center, guiding his team to the number 1 team in the Western Conference. And there's been a lot of conversation about Jokic, because people, meaning Kendrick Perkins, think that he is stat padding, and comparing it to Russell Westbrook's 2017 MVP season, when he averaged a triple-double and guided the Thunder to the playoffs as a 6th seed. And the reason why people are making those comparisons is because Russell Westbrook, this is all presumed, this is what people think, this is what, based off of what I'm seeing, people are upset because the conversation about Russell Westbrook's triple doubles was that it was stat padding, it was negative, didn't contribute to winning, he didn't deserve MVP. But it seems, at least what people think, people are praising Jokic for being an MVP and averaging a triple-double without really having that success. And I think there are two different conversations. One, because I think the Nuggets have not lost a game this year when Nikola Jokic has recorded a triple-double. So clearly, Nikola Jokic getting a triple-double, it contributes to winning basketball. And you couldn't really say the same for Russell Westbrook. Even though his teams had a winning record, he had a winning record when he averaged a triple-double. His record when he gets a triple-double is very good. But if you look at the teams that Westbrook was on, the Thunder when KD left, the Rockets, the Wizards, the Lakers, they didn't have any chance to win a championship. It didn't put you in a status where you could say that team could win a championship. But when I look at what Nikola Jokic is doing with the Nuggets, I think they are in that status where they should be considered a contender to win the championship, because Jokic, I think, just lets the game come to him. And the game coming to him sometimes means getting a triple-double. Because if you look at his stat line sometimes, there's games where he shoots 10 shots or less and shoots like 60% from the field. And it's just, some games it's scoring, some games it's rebounding, some games it's getting his teammates involved. I don't think he goes out there chasing stats. He just lets the game come to him and makes the right play. When you watched Russell Westbrook play basketball in his prime and he was getting all those triple doubles, it looked like it was forced, like he was trying to get those triple doubles because that was the thing that would save him from conversations where we really talked about how good of a player he was. Because when KD left, the Thunder didn't he still has yet to win a playoff series without Kevin Durant. All the times he's made the playoffs post KD since 2016, he has not won a playoff series. So, well, actually, scratch that. They have won a playoff series because the Lakers and the Rockets played each other in the second round of the bubble in 2020. So he has won a playoff series since KD left. That's my mistake. But other than that, he hasn't had any real playoff success without Kevin Durant. And some could say the same for Jokic, because the only time he's made a conference finals was when he was in the bubble. But if you look at the status of those Nuggets teams afterwards, last year they were decimated by injuries. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. were not healthy, so that is why they didn't make it last year. And so I think the pressure's on this year because they have a healthy team, a healthy squad, and he has to get to the finals this year. KD and Jokic, they're probably the Nuggets and the Suns. Those are the two teams that have the most pressure to get out of the West, in my opinion, and make the finals and win. Because Jokic, you can't really have 3 straight MVPs to your name and have 0 championships. We've seen the discourse before. The media seems to set the criteria as the voter fatigue comes from players not necessarily having the playoff success to match the MVP. I think that's why Giannis hasn't won another MVP, because he didn't think he was doing something that was much better than he did in his previous MVP seasons, and he didn't have the playoff success to match it. So I think the narratives are kind of contradicting, but it's whatever. And then just quickly transitioning to the last topic I want to talk about. I want to talk about Giannis and the Bucks, because they have won 16 games in a row. They haven't lost in what feels like forever, and really those 16 wins have came since Chris Middleton returned from injury. They haven't lost since Chris Middleton has returned from injury. And you can look at the schedule and say the teams they're playing aren't that good. They have beaten a few good teams in there, but I'm just so impressed with what the Bucks are doing. And acquiring Jay Crowder at the deadline was the perfect fit for them. He solves a lot of the issues that they had on defense, the ability to guard the other team's best wing player, switch. I think he's going to help them a lot in the long run. And when you look at the season as Giannis is having, 31, 12, and 5, best record in the NBA, I think he definitely deserves to be highly talked about in terms of winning the MVP. But I think, again, just when you look at Jokic, what he's doing, he elevated his play from where he was last year. Sure, he's not like top 10 in scoring, but he's averaging a triple-double, and his team is number 1 in the West. So that's why I think he's going to win MVP, because he did something this year that was better than when he won it last year. And voter fatigue is something that exists in sports, and if we want it to, you can't have it both ways. You can't say voter fatigue is robbing players of MVPs, but then you can't also say that I don't want this guy to win MVP because he doesn't look the part or he's already won it 2 times in a row. If the guy is having a great season and he deserves it, give it to him. These are the same people that say LeBron should have like 10 MVPs, or Jordan should have like 20 million MVPs. I'm exaggerating, but that's the dialogue. So you can't have it both ways. If a guy's having the best season out of anyone in the league, he's going to win MVP. And I think in terms of consistency and the numbers and the narratives surrounding it, I think Jokic is going to get it, and I think he deserves it. But I think Giannis is having a tremendous season as well. And so those are all the things that I wanted to talk about in this video. I know it's getting kind of long, but thanks for watching this video. It was great to make this video, being back making videos. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and find all of my content linked in the description. Thanks again for watching.